there's a few things that I find very telling. First of all, Mitch McConnell, the turkey neck Mitch McConnell, who is the Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell apparently suggested to Donald Trump, the president, not to nominate Brett Kavanaugh. Mitch McConnell made that suggestion, and President Trump went against Mitch McConnell. Now, Mitch, and yes, press the share button. And by the way, I am, this is a super chat. This is a super chat. So if you're feeling super, let it rip. Mitch McConnell cautioned. Oh, thank you, Chris. $4. Thank you for getting it started. Cautioned Trump against not nominating him. So right then and there, Mitch McConnell was corrupt. I don't think Mitch McConnell would have cautioned Trump not to nominate him unless there were some really bad skeletons in this man's closet. We've already seen that they have not revealed all the documents that have been requested of Brett Kavanaugh's history. So that's number one. That's the first red flag to me. Mitch McConnell cautioned him not to nominate him. So reason would stand, maybe Mitch McConnell didn't know this particular accusation, but maybe Mitch McConnell and high-powered Republicans knew other accusations. That's number one. Number two, you're talking about something 36 years ago. Christine Ford is accusing Brett Kavanaugh and his high school prep buddy of basically trying to rape her at a party. Her account is extremely, extremely vivid. I mean, I read the whole thing. 36 years is a long time. That is very vivid, like it just happened. I don't see any reason. I mean, I don't know her, but reading the account, that's a very vivid account to make up. And 36 years later, I don't believe if she was making it up, it comes off to me very genuine. And also it comes off to me that it was so traumatic. That's why she said to her therapist years ago, I feel worried that this man could be on the Supreme Court. I don't know what her reasoning for saying that, but obviously if he's on the Supreme Court, he could potentially be voting to overturn Roe versus Wade. The last thing I'll say, and I want to get Jen's opinion too, you have to look at common sense. You have to look at common sense. Why would this California professor come out publicly? Why would this California professor come out publicly? No gain to herself. Upheaval for her family. She's going to be attacked like, you think Anita Hill was something? In this polarized environment, she is going to be attacked like nobody's business if she is on a public hearing. So for all the reasons I detailed, number one, Mitch McConnell had a reason that he didn't want Trump to nominate Brett Kavanaugh. Number two, who the hell puts themselves through this to go public if it's not true? And number three, Brett Kavanaugh has hid many, many things, and it's already been reported and shown he's lied about other things under oath. Your thoughts?
I think there's there's many facets to this whole discussion. And first of all, I want to mention that the GOP is turning this into a conspiracy theory thing, that the Democrats just found her and brought her out, that the timing is crazy. But you have to look at the facts, as Jordan was talking about. She's taken a lie detector test, and obviously those are not always 100% correct, not admissible in court or whatever, except under certain circumstances. But that's one factor. Another factor is the stuff with the psychologist that Jordan also talked about, where she mentioned him by name, and even the worry that he would get on the Supreme Court someday.
She didn't mention his name.
No, she did.
Did she?
She did. Her husband vividly remembers the name Kavanaugh being mentioned.
Oh, the Washington Post story said she just mentioned a high-level Washington official.
Another paper has now interviewed the husband.
Got it.
So
this is why we pay her the big bucks.
Remember, we do have a GoFundMe.
I'm going to get to the GoFundMe.
No, I'm talking to them.
Oh, yeah. Oh, by the way, folks, shameless promotion here. We're putting the GoFundMe link right here. We're going to do a segment on the GoFundMe, but go on.
Okay. So obviously, one of the things about the Me Too movement was that it was wonderful. And now we actually see an extenuation of that within the Catholic Church. But this has been going on for a long time. I mean, the comparisons to Anita Hill are quite strong. And it's kind of Twilight Zone that it is such a strong comparison. But we can't always take, just an accusation and say, yes, it's 100% right, kick him out, whatever, right away. He's a terrible guy. He's going to do terrible things. But as far as looking at the facts of this, just because an accuser comes forward doesn't mean they're automatically believed. But when you look at the facts, when you look at the fact that she mentioned his name, brought him up, brought up the fear of the Supreme Court, was very nervous about coming forward in the first place. And she went back and forth with her lawyer on if she was going to release her name, and finally she did, and that was big news. It was revealed that she'd taken the lie detector test, and her story is very vivid and very credible. So absolutely, we need to hear from Kavanaugh. And the fact, if he's lying at all by saying, I've heard different things. So he could be lying, he's maybe lying and saying, oh, I wasn't even at that party. Or, oh, I've never done anything like that. Or if he lies about any aspect of this at all, he needs to not be confirmed. In addition to him being a terrible person, he needs to not be confirmed because those are lies. So I think this Christine is extremely credible. Believe women, but look at the facts, and the facts are lining up very strongly against Kavanaugh.
Well, I also think there's something to it that, the GOP is trying to make this into some, convenient timing. Well, she did it as soon. I don't know the exact dates, but around the same time that Trump announced his nomination, Christine Ford reached out to her congresswoman. So this doesn't strike me as, some woman scorned 36 years ago. She obviously, based on the notes in therapy where she said, I worry this man could be a Supreme Court judge. It's not like if she was making it up and wanted to hurt him, she didn't have to wait till he was nominated as a Supreme Court judge. She could have came out. He was a judge. I think he was on the D.C. circuit. Yeah,
he was very high up.
She could have came out a long time ago. I know I'm a man, and it's not easy for women to come out. But the fact that she's coming out specifically because he was nominated for the Supreme Court tells me she was traumatized.
Yeah.
And she is afraid. She believes, because this is a lifetime appointment, that people need to know the character of this man. Now, I hate to borrow from Ronald Reagan, only in this. I do believe with accusations, trust, believe women, but verify. What did he say? Trust, but verify?
Yeah, I don't know.
By the way, oh God, I'm going to go vomit because I just quoted Ronald Reagan. But, I believe you should, right out of the gate, believe women, but you also have to look at the facts. The bottom line is this. To me, this is less about whether she is telling the truth or not. Obviously, that's critical. And again, I have my problems with Barack Obama, and I certainly have my problems with the Democratic Party, which I will be getting into today. Can you fucking imagine?
Oh,
there goes our money. Can you fucking imagine?
So super chat us anyway.
Yeah. Can you imagine if Barack Obama, who I think is a war criminal, well, he's not a war criminal, but he's a criminal. I mean, he droned all these. Yes, no, he's a war criminal.
He absolutely is.
He's a war criminal.
So Hillary.
He conned the masses that he was a progressive. I think I'm not for Barack Obama. However, can you imagine if Barack Obama nominated a male Supreme Court justice? And somebody came out accusing him with his friend of trying to pin down and rape a woman. Not only would they immediately block the thing, but they would call for Barack Obama to resign as president for not doing his homework and for essentially, basically, they would try to pin Barack Obama, or any Democrat really, as pro-rape. They would play oh God, the culture wars, and they would get in the evangelicals. So the fact is, and I'm hard on the Democratic Party, equally, if not more, than the Republican Party. I don't think it's breaking news if I report on the Republican Party's corruption every day. But for God's sakes, the brazen hypocrisy here. They said, the Republicans, that we have to wait till after the presidential election to decide whether to not, basically Obama put forward a Chamber of Commerce centrist to moderate Republican nominee Merrick Garland, but they said, no, we can't vote on him. In this case, they're saying, oh, no, this shouldn't matter. We're not moving the deadline for Thursday.
Well, and that's the other thing is some people, by that I mean conservatives, say that it doesn't matter. Just like, it's locker room talk, like that same kind of excuse. Oh, it happened when they were so young. He was a kid.
This isn't locker room talk. She's accusing him and his friend of trying to...
It's the same vein of excuse. But their literal excuse is, oh, he was a kid. Well, I saw a great thing on Twitter today saying, the person said, I think, people are saying, what would you tell your sons? Like, something they do now could haunt them 36 years later. And the response was, of course they should be fearful of that. Like, of course you shouldn't assault women at any age. Like, what a ridiculous thing to say.